Good afternoon. Today's July 9th, and we're in the outside fig orchard today. We're going to kind of walk through and look at the varieties and see what their fruit set looks like. About 90 days from now will be October 9th, since today's July 9th, so you could say anything that's out here that's in the 90-day ballpark, what you see, this is what you're going to get this year. I don't do anything but mow this plot. I don't water it, irrigate it. I do weed eat around it, but I don't get down and pull all the weeds out. These things need to grow up and shade the weeds out, just like this tree here does. That's all I'm doing. This is just, what the average Joe's gonna do. So the first variety is we're gonna look at here is the standard Hardy Chicago. And it's pretty obvious that it's going to have a nice amount of fruit from dieback. Don't protect any of this. There's another one right down there. There's quite a few figs on it. For trees not protected, there's more. It's got figs on it there. So we're definitely going to get some figs off of the Hardy Chicago, no doubt. Now this was a 5-gallon tree when I planted it, and I recommend anytime you're going to plant them outside like this that you grow them in a 5-gallon pot for the first at least 2 to 3 years. Really, you should grow them 3 years in a 5-gallon pot before you put them in the ground. I don't sell anything that's less than 2 years old to a nursery that's in a 5-gallon pot, because I want to make sure that when it goes out, it's going to live. So it's a couple years old before I sell any of my 5-gallon pots to nurseries. This next variety is a Black Greek, which is also a Mount Etna variety. It ain't done very good, and that's a good example of why you want. This was just a 1-gallon, 1-year-old tree. They struggle when you don't let them have a decent sized root wad to put in the ground. If you're not protecting them, if you're going to protect them, that might be a little different story. Because then this root wad won't have no dieback, and that would be better. But if you're just going to throw them out here in the ground, like I've done this situation here, they need to be rooted out 5-gallon trees, or they just will not do as well. This next one is Salem Dark. It's got a few double bumps on it, but it almost died back last year, and it's done better this year. Last year I only had one stem come back. This year it's got a few more, so it took some beating. It'll take a couple years. It's starting to recover. This next one is look like it's dead. This was, I don't see nothing in here. That was Owensboro. There it is. Yep, nothing there. Nothing there. Dead meat. Next one is Celeste. Same story. It didn't make it through the winter this year, and I don't know why, but this is on a south-facing hillside, so it don't have no extra water or anything. This next one is Plainfield, and you can see it's got a few figs on it. Got a few figs on it. It is a Mount Etna variety. I think it's, of the Mount Etna varieties, I think it's probably closest to Malta Black. But it has several figs on it. This is the Trace Displace. You can see it's got some figs on it. Not a whole lot. I need to air layer one of these off of here and get me a potted version of this again. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring me a 2-gallon pot out here and take one of these trees and air layer it off this season, just so I can have another potted version of this again. I might try it in a greenhouse and see how it does. It's decent out here. Those will all ripen. This next one is Super Red Hybrid. I don't see any figs on it, but which means it won't ripen any this year. It did last year, but I needed to go down through here and kind of do this to every one of them anyway. Just give them a little more sun. This next one here is Pellegrino, and it's got a couple figs on it if we can get the grass off of it here. Got a couple at the bottom on every one of them. So that's good news. It usually always ripens. I don't think that it's not the same as my Ronde Baux. This is Celeste. And it may very well, may or may not have some figs on it. I can't say that I see any. Oh, look over here. There's one. Now this is not blue Celeste. This is just a regular Celeste. Just kind of a brown sugar fig. I usually get a couple off of it. This next one. Now it tends to get these rust spots on it every year, especially if it's raining. The leaves tend to do that. I could spray it with some neem oil, but it'll still go right on and keep trying to grow. You can see the double bumps. It's starting to get figs on it. This is Osborne Prolific. It's a brown honey fig that tastes kind of like bananas. It ain't got a whole lot on it, but it's got a couple. That's typically, it don't fruit real heavy from dieback, but it's got some double bumps on it, so it may have a little more later on. Hopefully it'll ripen. We'll get a few off of it. It might not ripen an entire crop. This next one, you will get figs off of for sure. This is Pingo de Mayo. It seems to do well here. It's got double bumps all over it, but as you can see, so it will have some figs on it, and it will ripen still yet. It seems to be short enough seasoned. And this next fig is definitely short season. This is RDB, Ronde Baux, and it's setting now. So yeah, you'll definitely get these in the middle of early October. We'll start picking them. So typically with no doing nothing out here, you'll get some figs. This next one is Validis Verdone is no longer with us. This is Hacienda. It's got little figs all over it. It's a berry fig. I do not know much about it other than it's just a berry fig. I got this variety from Sexton Figs in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. He used to sell them fig bid. Haven't seen him for a while, but this was one of his varieties. This next one, it's got figs on it. This is Teramo. You can see it's got figs on it there. Got some over here. I don't get a whole lot of figs out of this orchard, but we do get a few pounds. Even not, you know, garden, not doing anything, not protecting, just kind of mowing around them. Alright, let's go see what's on the next one here. This next one on the list is LSU Scotch Yellow. Oh, it's got some double bumps. It's starting to put on. If I can hold it still here for the camera. It's on both of them. I don't see none at the bottom, but it is starting to put on. So there's still time enough to ripen. This is Sultane. I don't see anything on Sultane. No figs. Oh, this one here is the Coral Black, and it's dead. As is this next one here. And that's Apple Pie. It didn't make it. Those were 5 gallons. Sometimes that happens. Get a little of this here, and it has figs. Not a lot, but it gets a few every year, and they ripen. This is long yellow. Not yellow long neck. Long yellow. And it typically grows, and they'll always be up here high like this one. So they're a little different shaped. While they kind of look like a yellow long neck, but they don't. They're a little different. They hang a little different. They have a little different honey profile. Definitely some differences. This is a brown turkey. And holy moly, it's finally starting to get some fruit on it. I see quite a few double bumps. See some, there's a fig right there. This is honestly probably the first year I've ever had this thing get figs on it. Yeah, it may very well get some off of this brown turkey for the first time. That would be awesome. I don't know how great it'll be, but it'd still be nice to have some figs. And the same could be said for this white Marseille. It's got double bumps all over it. As I don't know if you can see, I mean, it's full. So we may have a decent crop of figs out here this year. We'll see if they ripen. Here's a prime example. Oh, why you want to have a full 5-gallon rooted out tree, Hardy Chicago, and it's dead. That don't happen very often. They need to be a good rooted out 5-gallon. This one was, and it didn't make it. Cavalieri. This is, I don't see anything in there. LSU. No, because if let me tell you something, if that thing was alive, you would see shoots coming out of there. And it's not. LSU's dead. Didn't make it through the year. This next one, and I really like this one. This is a Verdone from Mario. It is a cold hardy, wheel fruit from dieback and ripened Adriatic. It's I think it's one of the more earlier of the Adriatics. You can see it's got figs on it. See if any of these others, those are kind of small, but that there's not. So it definitely has figs on it from dieback. Verdone from Mario. This next one, here's another one that will fruit. It will ripen. This is Validis Celeste, and it will ripen out here. It does every year. Ripens in the ground out here, and it'll be usually around the 1st of October. We'll get fruit. It ripens faster out here than it does in ground in the greenhouse. It'll ripen out here and grow back. It's kind of weird, and grow back just as fast as that 10-gallon tree will grow and ripen fruit. I done a video about it a couple years ago with doing that. So it is definitely a good cold hardy fig to have. This is Dead Cat 7. I got it to fruit in a 10-gallon, but it has not fruited. It's going to this year. It's got some double bumps on it. Just starting to get some double bumps on it. It's been too long since I've eaten one to tell you what they taste like. That's for sure. This is Negra d'Agde. And I don't look good. Don't see anything in there that looks like a fig. This is Texas VA1. I ain't had no luck with this thing. I've had 1 or 2 pieces of fruit out of all the potted trees. I've got 3 or 4 of these in pots. I ain't had much luck getting it to fruit yet. It ain't got no double bumps on it, so I don't really got much hope. This is Legata Delora. It's going to put out some fruit this year. Some years it fruits, some years it don't. This is going to be one of those years. It is a short season. It'll ripen in about 75 days. So with it having double bumps, we'll get a decent little crop off of this particular tree. It also goes by Drop of Gold, and I also have another version of this called Pink Honey. So, and I can tell you it does have breba. If you don't let it die back, it will grow breba, and it will be a very early main crop fig. That doesn't exist, and that was a Malta Black, but it was a 1 gallon. 1 gallon pots just don't do good outside like that. They need to be a full 5 gallon. This here is LSU Purple. I haven't gotten no fruit off of it out here, but it does have double bumps. I do get quite a few off of my potted ones because I've got about 6 or 7 of these in pots that it's a really good sweet dark skinned fig, and I'd prefer to use it to make jelly than to put sugar in my jelly because it's got a really good honey flavor. And I don't see anything on that. Is Black Greek. That was another 1 gallon tree, just didn't make it. The 1 gallon trees don't do good. This is Spotiphoria Dark, and it's got quite a few figs on it. And they're not big, but you know, you gotta remember these are all from dieback. Emmeline's Purple is no longer here. This is Floria. Yep, those are. Now the Emmeline's Purple was a 5 gallon one, and it didn't make it, but the Floria was just a 1 gallon. This is Naples Yellow. It's typically pretty tough, and it's got little double bumps on this little thin branch down here. It likes to fruit. This is a good tree. It had a bad year last year and kind of recovering. If we just had a colder year than normal. This is LSU Holier, however you'd like to pronounce it. This depends on what language you're speaking or where you're from. it's got double bumps on it. It's gonna try to fur out here, and it's gonna die back. Well, I tell you, I see something I do like. Look how it has hardened off. I mean, it's hardening off well. With a little protection, these LSU figs are really, people should look more at planting these in zone 7s, especially if they can give them a little bit of protection. They do really well. This is Monroe Yellow. Don't look like it's got any double bumps on it. Just gonna try to branch out some more, it looks like. LSU Tiger, and you'll notice it's got figs on it, and look how look how it's already lignified, and I think that's really, really, really important going into the winter. This is a tree that's going to be very cold hardy. I get figs off of it every year. It'll have some branches that will put some figs on. LSU Tiger. Next one is LSU Champagne. And we'll see. I typically do get some figs off of this. There you go. Little double bumps. Don't see a whole lot, but hey, like I said, this is more of an experiment of what we can get by with and what we can do and what might work. LSU Scotch Black. Hey, look here. There's one in there. They're pretty tough. And this was a 3-gallon tree here. That'll give her some more light. So maybe it'll grow into something one day. After they're in the ground a couple years, they start doing a lot better. This is Ronde Baux, and it will ripen figs. I mean, look how far along these figs are. So yeah, this is definitely a must-have. Got to start propagating more of it. This next one is Parline Cream. And I do not see anything. Maybe that right there maybe, well, now if you get on down here, there you go, right there. It's got some double bumps on it. It's going to get a few figs on it. Now, whether it'll ripen or not, I haven't got this fig to ripen yet, so we'll see. My trees are just now kind of getting old enough. And last but not least is a cherry pie. It ain't got no figs on it. But it is trying to harden off. So that's something you always want to look at and see that these things are hardening off, because that's the key to being hardy in the winter. It's hardening off. So there's a look at the outside fig orchard that is totally unprotected. And like I said, it's on a southeast facing slope. It's not quite at the bottom, so it maybe could be a little bit of a frost pocket, but it doesn't do too bad when they're just unprotected, as you can see. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.